I brought my son his favorite coffee and found him unconscious. Tubes in his chest, machines keeping him alive. The nurses said his wife hadn't answered in 18 hours. I thought maybe she was grieving. Then I checked her Instagram. While my son fought for his life, Ashley was posting sunset photos from Cabo, laughing in another man's arms. That's when my marine instincts came back online. Because what I saw next proved this wasn't an accident. It was a setup, and they picked the wrong father to mess with. Before we continue, if you love these stories, please subscribe to our channel and let us know where you are listening in the comment. Let me back up and tell you how a 68-year-old retired Marine became the only thing standing between his family and a nightmare that started 3 days ago. The call came at 2:15 Tuesday afternoon. While I was restoring my '67 Mustang, Dr. Sarah Martinez from Methodist Hospital delivered the news that would change everything. Mr. Thompson, your son Michael was in a serious accident. You need to come immediately. 30 years in the Marines had taught me to handle crisis, but nothing prepared me for seeing my boy unconscious, hooked to machines, his face swollen beyond recognition. Multiple broken ribs, internal bleeding, serious head injury. The next 24 hours were critical. Where's Ashley? I asked, scanning the empty room. We've been trying to reach her since yesterday evening, Dr. Martinez said quietly. No response. I called Ashley's phone, straight to voicemail again. Nothing. That's when I remembered what my granddaughter Emma taught me about social media. I found Ashley's Instagram account and my blood turned to ice. 6 hours ago, a sunset photo from Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. Caption, Paradise found. Yesterday evening, while Mike was fighting for his life, Ashley was laughing in an expensive restaurant. But the third post shattered everything. Ashley on a beach in a bikini, her arm around a man who wasn't my son. Caption, Life's too short for regrets. The man was tagged as Marcus Rivera, the personal trainer she'd mentioned casually over Sunday dinner. The man who was helping her find herself while her husband lay dying. I screenshotted everything. Marine training kicked in automatically. Evidence documentation. This was now in operation. The rage built hot and familiar. I'd felt it in Fallujah, in places where rage served a purpose. But this was personal. In a way 30 years of military service hadn't prepared me for. Mike had always been too trusting, too willing to see the best in people. It was what I loved most about him, and what made him vulnerable. To a woman who could abandon him in his darkest hour. I looked at my son surrounded by machines keeping him alive. The steady beep of monitors was the only sound. Mechanical proof he was still fighting. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Maybe Ashley finally responding. Instead, a message that changed everything. Stop looking for answers you won't like, old man. Some accidents aren't accidents. I stared at the screen, reading it 3 times. Someone was watching. Someone knew I was investigating. Someone wanted me to stop. They'd picked the wrong Marine to threaten. That threatening text was a mistake. Whoever sent it had just activated every instinct I'd developed in 30 years of military service. I stepped out of Mike's room and made the call that would change everything. Tommy, it's James Thompson. I need a favor. Master Sergeant Tommy Rodriguez had been my right hand in Afghanistan. Now he ran private security in Austin. If anyone could dig into Marcus Rivera's background, it was Tommy. Jimmy, what's going on? You sound like mission mode. I explained quickly. Mike's accident, Ashley's disappearance, Marcus Rivera, the threatening text. Tommy listened without interruption, the way he always had during briefings. Send me everything on this Marcus character. Photos, social media, anything. I'll run him through our databases. While waiting, I did reconnaissance. I studied Ashley's posts for clues. The Cabo restaurant had a visible name, Casa del Mare. The hotel room showed luxury amenities that cost serious money. Money coming from somewhere. Tommy called back 20 minutes later, voice grim. Jimmy, sit down for this. Marcus Rivera isn't just a personal trainer. He's connected to bad people. Real name Marcus Antonio Rivera. Ties to a criminal organization specializing in identity theft, money laundering, and worse. My grip tightened. How much worse? The kind involving wealthy families, staged accidents, and insurance payouts. Jimmy, I think your son was targeted. The pieces fell into place. Ashley's sudden fitness interest 6 months ago. Secretive phone calls. Questions about Mike's life insurance. Casual inquiries about my finances and the kids' trust funds. There's more, Tommy continued. This organization has a pattern. They use attractive accomplices to get close to wealthy targets. Accomplices gather financial info, family routines, security details, then stage accidents. And the accomplices usually become victims themselves, once they've outlived usefulness. Ashley on that beach laughing carelessly, probably not knowing she was being set up just like Mike. Tommy, check for suspicious activity around my grandchildren's school. Any new faces? Anyone asking questions? Already on it. Got a guy watching as we speak. Jimmy, if they're targeting your family, the kids could be next. That's when it hit me. The accident wasn't random, it was step one. With Mike incapacitated, Ashley inherits everything. But if something happened to Ashley? After she'd updated her will to include Marcus, he'd claim it all, including custody of Emma and Jake. Another message from the unknown number. Hospitals can be dangerous places for old men who ask too many questions. This time I smiled. They were escalating, which meant worried. In Afghanistan, desperate enemies make mistakes. I was counting on it. I walked back to Mike's room and took his hand. "Don't worry, son. Dad's got this." The monitors continued beeping, but I swear his fingers twitched, as if understanding the cavalry had arrived. Tommy called again, urgent. "Jimmy, problem. My guy spotted 2 men in a black SUV, taking pictures of the kids during recess. Emma and Jake are being watched." "Dad." I jerked awake in the hospital chair. Mike was awake, his brown eyes clear for the first time in 3 days. "Son." I reached for his hand. "How do you feel?" "Like I got hit by a truck. What happened?" Last thing I remember was driving home from my shift. I studied his face, seeing confusion and fear. This was my boy, who deserved better than what had been done to him. "Mike, Emma and Jake are safe. They're with Linda in Dallas." His brow furrowed. "Why wouldn't they be safe? Where's Ashley?" The conversation I'd been dreading. "Ashley is in Mexico with another man. Marcus Rivera, her personal trainer." Mike closed his eyes. When he opened them, I saw something unexpected. Relief. "I knew," he said quietly. "I've known for months." "What?" "The secret phone calls. New clothes she couldn't explain. Sudden interest in private fitness sessions." Mike winced as he shifted. "I hired a private investigator 6 weeks ago. My son had been 3 steps ahead." "What did you find?" "Enough to know about the affair." "What I didn't know was—" He gestured at the machines. "This wasn't an accident, was it?" I told him everything. Marcus's criminal connections, targeting wealthy families, staged accidents, threatening messages, men watching the kids at school. Mike listened, his expression hardening. "Dad, 3 months ago Ashley asked me to update my life insurance. Increase the payout. Add her as primary beneficiary." "Did you?" "I increased it, but didn't change beneficiaries. You and the kids are still primary. Ashley's secondary, only if something happens to all of you." His eyes met mine. "Guess my paranoia paid off." "That's survival instinct, son. There's more." She asked about my finances, investments, property, whether I'd updated my will. The full scope became clear. They'd planned to eliminate our entire family, one by one until Marcus could claim everything through Ashley. "They're not stopping with me," Mike said. "If they're watching Emma and Jake, Tommy's got people protecting them. Linda knows to keep them away from school." Mike struggled to sit straighter. "What's the plan?" "You focus on getting better while I handle this number." His voice carried combat steel. "They targeted my children, tried to kill me. They're using my wife to destroy my family. I want in." I saw not the injured patient, but the man he'd become. Strong, determined, ready to fight. "All right, but first we get you out of this hospital. If they're escalating, this place isn't safe." My phone buzzed with Tommy's text. "They just tried to grab the kids at Linda's. We stopped them, but they're desperate. Time for offense." Mike saw my expression change. "What is it?" "They just made their biggest mistake," I said, checking my Glock. "They went after Emma and Jake." The monitors beeped steadily, but Mike's grip on my hand was strong. "What do we do?" "What Marines do best, son. We go to war." Getting Mike discharged took stubborn Thompson determination. 2 hours later, we drove toward Dallas, Mike propped with pillows and painkillers. "Tell me about Linda's security," I said. "Standard suburban house. Tommy's guys stopped 2 men trying to break in the back door." My phone rang. Linda's voice was strained. "James, the kids are scared. Emma saw the men. She's asking why bad people want to hurt them." My chest tightened. Emma was 10. She should worry about homework, not kidnappers. "We'll be there in an hour. Keep them inside." At Linda's house, I spotted Tommy's team immediately. 2 men in a sedan, 1 walking perimeter, professional. Emma ran to me, wrapping her arms around my waist with desperate grip. "Grandpa, why do those men want to hurt us?" I knelt to her level, looking into brown eyes, too much like her father's. "Sometimes bad people think they can take things that don't belong to them, but they don't know about Marines. What do Marines do? Marines protect their families no matter what." Jake, 7 and trying to be brave, stood behind Emma. "Are you going to fight the bad men, Grandpa?" "I'm going to make sure they can never hurt you again." Linda pulled me aside. "James, this is insane. Call the police, FBI, someone official. Police can't do what needs doing. By the time the FBI gets involved, these people disappear or escalate." My phone buzzed, unknown number. "Old man, you have 24 hours to back off. Or the children disappear permanently." I showed Mike, who read it with cold expression from his teenage years. "They just gave us a timeline," he said, "and a target." I pulled up Ashley's Instagram. Latest post showed her and Marcus at a resort pool. This time I noticed something else. A sign, Casa del Mar Resort, Cabo San Lucas. Room numbers visible behind them. "Tommy," I called to the team leader. "How fast can you get us to Mexico?" "Private jet from Dallas Executive, 3 hours flight time." "But this is international incident territory." "Not if we're fast and clean." Mike struggled to stand, pale but determined. "I'm coming." "Son, you can barely walk." "They tried to kill me. They're threatening my children. I'm coming." Emma looked up from her drawing. "Daddy, are you and Grandpa going to bring Mommy home?" She thought this was about bringing family together, not stopping criminals. "We're going to make sure Mommy is safe," Mike said gently. "And the bad men," I met Emma's eyes. Seeing trust I couldn't let down. "The bad men are going to learn what happens when they threaten a Marine's family." Tommy checked his watch. "Jets fueled and ready. We can be in Cabo by midnight." "Good, because we end this tonight." 30,000 feet over Texas. My phone rang with Ashley's number. I looked at Mike, who nodded grimly. "Speaker on." "James." Ashley's voice was barely a whisper, shaking with terror. "Please, I need help. Where are you?" "Hiding in a bathroom at the resort. Marcus." "He's not who I thought." "James, I think he's going to kill me." Mike leaned forward. "Ashley, what's going on?" "Mike, oh God, you're alive." "They told me you were dead. Said the accident killed you. And I had to stay here to avoid suspicion." "Who told you that?" I asked. "Marcus. But I saw news online an hour ago. You're in the hospital, not dead. Which means everything he told me was a lie." "What exactly did Marcus tell you?" I asked. "Said you'd had a heart attack at the hospital and died. Said police were investigating me for insurance fraud. That I couldn't come home. He showed me fake news articles. Fake police reports, and you believed him." "I was scared. He said if I went back to Texas, they'd arrest me." She was crying. "But I got suspicious and checked real news sites. Mike's accident was reported, but nothing about you dying." Mike's jaw tightened. "Ashley, how long have you been planning to leave me?" "I wasn't. I was confused, lonely, but I never wanted to hurt you or the kids. Marcus said he understood me, but I never meant for this to happen." "What changed this morning?" I asked. "I overheard Marcus on the phone talking about life insurance payouts and custody arrangements. He mentioned Emma and Jake by name." "James, he was talking about what would happen after you and Mike were both dead," Mike said flatly. "He's planning to kill us all." I confronted him and he dropped the act. He laughed. "James told me I was just as disposable once the insurance money came through." "Where is he now?" "Looking for me. I locked myself in this bathroom. But he knows I'm here. He has a gun. And other men, dangerous men." Pounding echoed through the phone. "Ashley, I know you're in there. Open the door, baby." Marcus's voice was smooth, controlled, but threatening, Ashley whispered. "He found me." "Do not open that door," I said quickly. "Is there a window?" "Yes, but we're on the 3rd floor. Can you get to the balcony?" "Maybe," she said, but the pounding got violent. "Ashley, open this door right now." Tommy was pulling up building schematics, pointing to fire escape locations. "Get to your balcony. Fire escape on the south side. Can you see it?" "I think so, but James, I'm scared." "You're stronger than you think. We're coming." "How long can you hold out?" The bathroom door splintered. Ashley screamed. "Too late." Marcus's voice was clear now. "Hello, James?" "Yes, I know you're listening. Your daughter-in-law and I are going to have a little chat about family loyalty. You have 2 hours to get here, or she becomes another tragic accident. Line dead." Mike was strapping on tactical gear. "How fast can this plane go?" 90 minutes, Tommy said. But this just became a hostage situation. I checked my sidearm, looking at Mexico's lights, growing larger below. This just became a rescue mission. The private jet touched down at Los Cabos Airport. At 11:45 p.m., Tommy coordinated with contacts during the flight. "Weapons waiting at the safe house," he said as we deplaned. "Local assets untraceable. We go in clean, come out clean." Mike moved steadily beside me, painkillers doing their job. Determination overriding physical limitations. The safe house was 10 minutes from Casa del Mar Resort. Rodriguez, Martinez, and Johnson were waiting with tactical gear. "Gentlemen," I said, gathering around schematics, "this is my son, Mike. The hostage is his wife, held by at least 3 armed criminals. On the 3rd floor," Rodriguez spoke first. "Sir, high-risk extraction, civilian hostage, unknown hostiles, foreign soil. Should consider official channels." "Official channels take hours we don't have," Mike said. "By the time they sort jurisdiction, Ashley's dead." Johnson pointed to building plans. 3-story concrete construction. Target room corner unit with balcony access. Fire escape south side. Main stairwell here, service elevator here. Security minimal. 2 guards at front desk, 1 roving patrol. Resort security, not military. Martinez leaned forward. "Extraction routes. Primary balcony to fire escape. Ground level beach access. Secondary main corridor to service elevator parking garage." Tommy spread photos taken by his hotel contact. These were an hour ago. Marcus has Ashley in room 312. At least 2 other men, possibly 3. Marcus looked different from social media. Harder, dangerous, professional criminal. Not fitness instructor in over his head. Rules of engagement? Rodriguez asked. The question hung heavy. In Afghanistan, rules were clear. This was different. This was family. Minimum necessary force, I said. But the hostage comes out alive. Anyone threatening her deals with consequences. Mike checked his pistol. Ashley's not trained. She'll panic. That's why we go fast and overwhelming, Johnson said. Shock and awe. Get in. Neutralize threats. Extract before anyone thinks. Timeline. Tommy checked his watch. 37 minutes left. Hotel security shift change in 20. That's our window. I looked at these men risking lives for my family. Rodriguez from 3 deployments. Martinez, who'd saved my life in Fallujah. Johnson, who owed me nothing but came because Tommy asked. Why are you doing this? I asked. Rodriguez smiled. Because you do it for us, Gunny. That's what Marines do. Martinez added. Johnson nodded. Some things are worth fighting for. Mike stood wincing. What's my role? Stay with extraction vehicle, Tommy said. You're injured. Mike's voice carried steel. She's my wife, my responsibility. I'm going in. I studied my son's face, seeing not the injured patient, but the man who'd inherited warrior spirit. All right, but you follow orders. No heroics. If I say fall back, you fall back. Understood. Tommy gathered weapons and gear. 22 minutes to save a life and stop criminals. Questions? None. We'd done this before. Different places, different circumstances, same mission. Protect innocent, eliminate threat. Bring everyone home. Let's go get her. Casa del Mar Resort looked peaceful in moonlight. Its white walls hiding the violence inside. We approached from 3 directions, moving like ghosts. Through manicured gardens, ground floor secure. Rodriguez's voice crackled through my earpiece as he and Martinez neutralized the lobby guards with non-lethal takedowns. Tommy and I scaled the fire escape to the 3rd floor, while Johnson took overwatch position on the adjacent building. Mike moved with beach access team despite his injuries, proving the warrior spirit runs deep in our family. Thermal shows 3 heat signatures in target room. Johnson reported 2 mobile, 1 stationary in corner. Assume stationary is the hostage. I tested the fire escape window. Unlocked as promised by hotel security. Tommy and I slipped inside. Boots silent on carpeted hallway, the corridor stretched before us, dimly lit by emergency lighting. Room 312 was at the far end. Corner unit with balcony access, just like the schematic showed. Overwatch report, I whispered. Target room shows movement. Hostiles appear agitated, pacing. Hostage still stationary. We moved down the hallway using tactical spacing. Weapons ready but concealed. 30 years of Marine training kicked in. Check corners, watch for crossfire, maintain communication at room 310. I held up my fist. Stop! Voices were coming through the walls. She's lying, Marcus was saying, voice tight with stress. The old man's got resources we didn't account for. Another voice, heavily accented. So we eliminate the problem. Kill her. Disappear. Not yet. She's our only leverage. Through the thin wall I could hear Ashley crying softly. My daughter-in-law was alive, conscious and terrified, but alive. I motioned for Tommy to take position on the opposite side of the door. Mike appeared at the hallway junction with Rodriguez, both moving with surprising stealth for a recovering man, and a former master sergeant who'd put on weight since retirement. Breath team in position, I whispered into my radio. Overwatch ready, Johnson confirmed. I pulled out the master keycard. Hotel security had provided. The plan was simple, fast, overwhelming force. Get in, neutralize threats, extract Ashley before anyone could react. But as I approached the door, I heard something that changed everything. The kids are secure at the Dallas location, Marcus was saying into his phone. When we're done here, we move on the primary targets. My blood ran cold. They weren't just after Ashley. This was still about Emma and Jake, I whispered urgently. Multiple threats confirmed. This isn't just extraction, this is elimination of entire network. Copy that, Rodriguez responded. Rules of engagement. I looked at my son, saw the same steel in his eyes that I'd carried through 3 decades of military service. We weren't just rescuing Ashley anymore. We were ending this threat permanently. Weapons free, I said quietly. No survivors who pose continued threat to family. I pressed the keycard to the lock, heard the soft electronic beep, and took a deep breath. Beyond this door was the man who tried to destroy my family, who'd threatened my grandchildren, who'd turned my son's wife into a weapon against us. Marcus Rivera was about to learn what happens when you threaten a Marine's family. I nodded to Tommy, gripped my weapon, and prepared for the confrontation that would end this nightmare once and for all. The door was about to open, and everything would change. Breach! 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 The door exploded inward under Tommy's shoulder. I went right, he went left. Mike and Rodriguez flooded in behind us, in perfect tactical formation. The room erupted in controlled violence. Marcus spun toward us, diving for a pistol on the dresser. "Federal agents, nobody move!" I shouted, using the confusion to our advantage. One of his men, a thin guy with prison tattoos, was already reaching for a shotgun propped against the wall. Rodriguez's training kicked in. 2 precise shots center mass dropped him before he could chamber a round. The third man, the one with the accent I'd heard through the wall, grabbed Ashley and pressed a knife to her throat. "Back off or she dies right now." Ashley's eyes were wide with terror, but I could see the fight still in her. She caught my gaze and gave an almost imperceptible nod toward the balcony door behind her captor. "Easy now," I said, keeping my weapon trained, but not directly threatening. "Nobody else needs to die tonight." Marcus had his hands raised, but his eyes were calculating angles, looking for an opening. The cocky fitness instructor facade was completely gone now. This was the real Marcus Rivera. Cold, professional, dangerous. "You have no idea what you've walked into, old man," he said with deadly calm. "This organization has reach you can't imagine. Kill us and 10 more will take our place." "Maybe," I replied, "but they won't be threatening my family." "Your family?" Marcus laughed, a sound like broken glass. "Your precious grandchildren are already dead. My associates in Dallas received the go signal 20 minutes ago." The words hit me like a physical blow, but 30 years of military training kept me focused. He was lying, had to be lying. Tommy would have contacted his Dallas team if there was real trouble. But doubt crept in. What if we'd been played? What if this whole rescue was a distraction? While they went after Emma and Jake? "Dad." Mike's voice was steady despite his injuries. "He's bluffing. Look at his eyes." I studied Marcus's face and saw what my son had noticed. The slight twitch at the corner of his mouth, the way his gaze darted to his phone on the nightstand. He was desperate, grasping for psychological leverage. "Johnson," I spoke into my radio. "Citry on Dallas. Dallas team reports all quiet. Target secure and unaware." Relief flooded through me, but I kept it off my face. Marcus saw my expression and his confidence cracked slightly. "Your choice," I told the knife wielder, holding Ashley. "Let her go and walk out of here alive, or my sniper friend on the roof makes the decision for you." The man's eyes darted to the window, where Johnson's laser sight painted a red dot on his forehead. His grip on Ashley loosened just enough. That's when Ashley proved she was tougher than any of us had given her credit for. She drove her elbow back into her captor's solar plexus, stomped down hard on his instep, and dove toward the balcony. The knife wielder doubled over, gasping. Johnson's shot took him down before he could recover. Marcus made his move, lunging for the pistol with surprising speed, but I was faster. 30 years of muscle memory put 2 rounds center mass before his fingers touched the grip. He staggered backward, hitting the wall, sliding down slowly. Blood spread across his expensive shirt as he looked up at me with something like respect. "You think this ends it?" he wheezed. "There are others. This organization will have to find new leadership," I interrupted. "And they'll know what happens when they threaten the Thompson family." Marcus tried to say something else, but the words dissolved into bloody foam. His eyes went vacant, staring at nothing. The room fell silent, except for Ashley's quiet sobbing and the distant sound of waves on the beach below. "Clear," Rodriguez called out, checking the bathroom and closet. "Clear," Tommy echoed from the balcony. Mike was already moving toward Ashley, wrapping her in his arms despite his injuries. "It's over," he whispered. "We're going home." I looked around the room at the aftermath. 3 criminals down, Ashley safe, the immediate threat eliminated. But I knew this was just one cell of a larger organization. "Tommy," I said, "make sure your people collect all their electronics, documents, anything that might lead us to the rest of their network." "Already on it, Gunny." Ashley looked up at me through her tears. "James, I'm so sorry. I never meant for any of this to happen. I was stupid and selfish, and you were manipulated by professionals," I said gently. "What matters now is that you're safe, and we're all going home together." My phone rang, Linda's number. My heart stopped for a moment, but her voice was calm when I answered. "James, the kids are asking when you're coming back. They want to show you the welcome home banner they made." I smiled, feeling the weight of the last few days lifting. "Tell them Grandpa's coming home, and tell them he's bringing their parents with him." 3 weeks later, I sat on Mike's back porch, watching Emma and Jake play in the yard, while Ashley's barbecue filled the evening air. Mike was off crutches, moving with just a slight limp that would fade with time. Physical wounds were healing. Emotional ones would take longer. "Grandpa, watch this." Emma attempted a cartwheel, ending in giggles on the grass. Jake immediately copied her with similar results. "Beautiful form," I called back. earning twin grins that reminded me why I'd crossed borders and faced criminals. Some things are worth any risk. Ashley emerged with lemonade sitting beside me. The Instagram-obsessed woman was gone, replaced by someone I was just beginning to know. James, I keep thinking, what would have happened if you hadn't come for me? If you'd written me off? Your family, I said simply. Marines don't leave family behind, even family that betrays them. I watched my grandchildren playing. Especially then, that's when family matters most. Mike joined us, settling carefully. FBI called today. They arrested 12 more organization members across 4 states. We didn't just save our family. We helped save others, too. Ashley's eyes filled with tears. All those people Marcus was planning to hurt are safe because you found courage to call for help, I reminded her. When it mattered, you chose family over fear. I chose family over stupidity, she corrected. I nearly lost everything that actually mattered. But you didn't, Mike said, taking her hand. We're all here safe and stronger than before. Emma ran over, grass-stained and joyful. Grandpa, Daddy says you're a hero. Is that true? I pulled her onto my lap. Heroes are regular people who do what needs doing when family needs them. Like when you saved Mommy. Like when Mommy found courage to call for help. Even when scared, I said, meeting Ashley's eyes. Real heroes aren't those who aren't afraid. They're those who do right things despite fear. Jake climbed onto Mike's lap carefully. Are the bad men all gone? The ones who threatened our family are gone, Mike said. And Grandpa made sure they can never hurt other families. As sunset painted the sky orange and pink, I reflected on lessons learned about family importance, about forgiveness, power, about strength from standing together against threats. You know what I learned? Ashley said suddenly. Real strength isn't about perfect bodies or perfect lives, or perfect Instagram feeds. Real strength is having people who fight for you even when you don't deserve it. Everyone deserves to be fought for, I said. That's what family means. Emma looked up with serious brown eyes. Will you always protect us? I hugged her closer. Always, sweetheart, that's what grandpas do. Later, after kids were in bed, and Ashley and Mike went inside to rebuild their future, I sat alone recording a message for other families facing struggles. Sometimes life throws impossible challenges. Sometimes trusted people let you down. Sometimes you travel halfway around the world to save loved ones. But here's what I learned. Family isn't about blood or certificates. It's about people who show up when everything falls apart. It's about forgiveness, second chances, and courage to fight for what matters most. I paused, looking through the window, at my son and daughter-in-law, rebuilding their marriage one conversation at a time. The Texas night was peaceful, filled with crickets and distant traffic. My family was safe, grandchildren dreaming sweet dreams, and tomorrow would bring new opportunities to show them what love looks like in action. Sometimes that's all the victory you need. When I first discovered Ashley's betrayal, I thought our family was broken beyond repair. But betrayal stories have taught me that sometimes our greatest trials become our greatest testimonies. God allowed this crisis to reveal the unbreakable bonds that truly matter. The love between a father and son, the devotion of a grandfather to his grandchildren, and the power of forgiveness to heal wounded hearts. Grandpa's stories often begin with ordinary moments that turn extraordinary when family is threatened. At my age, I could have chosen to stay on the sidelines, to let younger men handle the danger. Instead, God reminded me that His strength is made perfect in our weakness, and that sometimes He calls seasoned warriors back into battle for one final mission. The most powerful betrayal stories aren't about the pain of deception. They're about the triumph of truth. Ashley's journey from darkness to light showed us all that no one is beyond redemption. When they humble themselves and seek forgiveness, God's grace covers even our deepest failures. Through Grandpa's stories like ours, we learn that protecting family isn't just about physical courage. It's about emotional bravery, choosing to forgive when it would be easier to hold grudges, choosing to fight when it would be simpler to surrender. Betrayal stories remind us that trust, once broken, requires patience to rebuild. But with God's help and genuine repentance, families can emerge stronger than before. Ashley proved that real change is possible when someone truly commits to doing better. The beauty of Grandpa's stories is that they inspire the next generation to be brave, to be loyal, and to never give up on the people they love. God uses our experiences to teach our grandchildren that love is worth fighting for. What's your family's story of overcoming betrayal or finding strength in crisis? Drop a comment and share how faith helped you through your darkest hour. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more heartwarming stories that prove God works all things together for good.